Welcome to the Publish Her podcast, a place where you can come to get inspiration, motivation, help, encouragement, and support in your journey to write, publish, and sell your book. Hosted by Alexa Bigwarfe. 'Cause I've been where you've been, and I felt what you're feeling, and I don't want to get in your way. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Publish Her podcast. I am really pleased to bring you Michelle Vandepas, CEO and founder of Empower Press, which is an imprint of Grace Point Publishing. We are here today to talk about all kinds of fun things, but primarily the difficulties around getting started with your writing project and moving forward to actual completion, which seems to be an issue. And trust me, I have been in this boat as well. So today, Michelle, well, let me tell you a little bit about Michelle first. Michelle Vandepas is a best-selling author of 3 books, author coach to Brian Tracy and Jack Canfield clients, TEDx speaker, and she's helped publish over 1,000 books in the last 2 decades. As an entrepreneur, Michelle combines her book knowledge with marketing and business sense to create a book that will sell. And Empower Press is one of our sponsors of the Women in Publishing Summit. They have been through Grace Point and Empower Press sponsors for several years now. We're always pleased to have them. They offer such great resources to our community. And just thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today.
Oh, I'm honored, and it's always so much fun to hang out with you, Alexa.
It is, and we get into such interesting conversations. We'll see where it takes us this time. But let's talk about what you're doing right now in particular. You know, one of the things as an entrepreneur and a publisher is entrepreneurs were always looking for the solution to a problem. So I'm assuming that's why you've created this new program. That's why you have all these resources, is how to get that book written. What inspired this?
Well, I'm a big believer, and I think I've shared this before with you, that we teach what we need to learn and learn what we need to teach. And
Yes.
I have a hard time getting words on paper, especially to start, right? And it's the same thing an artist comes to the blank canvas, and it's like that first stroke you're so freaked out about. And getting your book written, and what if your words suck? Like, what am I going to do? And it is, even with writers who've written many books, and you know this, it's often hard to just keep that momentum going or get going again, right? And so many of our authors and would-be authors just want more support and accountability around getting words on the page, getting words on paper. Now they think, so here's the difference, they think they want help getting the book done. But what they really want is just support getting words on paper. And because we can always get the book done, but if you don't have words on paper, there is no book.
Oh, that's so true. You know, it's interesting. I was just having a conversation with someone the other day about even the idea of resistance and how sometimes if we're super passionate about something, there is some level of resistance often with writers. I know this has been the case for me. I've been wanting to write a companion journal to the book Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother. For years, I wanted to have this beautiful journal planner for grieving mothers. And all I really needed to write, I mapped out what I wanted the journal to be, the things that I wanted in there. I have a designer. She put it all together for me like 2 years ago. All I had to write was the introduction. The introduction, 3 pages of words. Michelle, it took me over 2 years to write 1,000, 1,500 words max, maybe.
Right.
And that idea of resistance. And I agree with you. I think part of it is because we get busy and we have all these other priorities. We have other things that are happening that have to get done. And it's like, oh, it's only 3 pages. I can write that later. Or, that happens. But also I couldn't find the words, and I have boiled it down to, I wasn't ready yet.
Right. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes, my whole TEDx talk was about, are you procrastinating, or is it just not time yet? Right.
Yeah.
So I totally hear what you're saying. And sometimes even if it's not time, there are other things we can be doing that keeps moving us forward. So in your instance, you still got the design done, you still had the layout, you still had the vision, you still moved forward with all these other pieces. You didn't just put it on the back burner.
Right.
And so when I work with authors, it's like, okay, the words aren't coming. Do we have an outline? Do we have any bullet points? Do we have a cover idea? Do we have keyword research? Do we
Mhm.
have other things that we can be doing that keeps moving your book forward? And at some point, you have to own the fact that maybe you are just procrastinating and it's time to get words on paper.
Yes,
So
that is so true.
but it's the polarity, it's that yin and yang, it's that, black and white that we have to move into these gray areas and balance both sides always. That's life, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to honor both sides of ourselves, right timing and self-sabotage.
Well, it's interesting because I know for me, and I know you work with a lot of people who do books on healing and inspiration and
Yeah.
transformative nonfiction, moving people from one place to the other. And I think if I were to psychoanalyze myself, I would say that I don't think that I was healed yet to a point that that I felt confident in doing a healing journal for
Oh,
grieving
interesting.
mothers. Yes,
Yeah.
because it's been over the last 2 years that I had my ideas. I knew the things that I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't quite form it yet because I was still in that process of experimenting and going through those. And I think it's only been in the last couple years that I've been able, and even in the last couple months, that I've been able to pull those things together and say, this is why that worked for me, or this is why I was doing this. So
Right.
on the timing factor, sometimes you have to get to the point where you really know and understand what it is that you're trying to help someone else do before you can, even though you know the knowledge, right? You have to
Right.
have that real, true understanding. So when I finally got to that point, the words just flowed out in a way that I don't think I could have done when I originally had my vision for the journal. But to your point, because I had moved forward with the vision and all of those things, then at that point it was just, okay, I've written it, send it to the editor, send it to the designer, and we were able to complete the book in a week.
Right, right, because you were ready, all the other pieces. The other thing I want to just talk through for a minute with you, Alexa, is sometimes the process of writing, and you've done a lot of writing around grieving and other things, so I'm not talking to you specifically
Right,
now,
right.
but to other people, sometimes the process of writing will help you get to the other side of it
For
and
sure.
help you process. So even if you're doing something transformational or grieving, or you've been through some trauma in your life and you want to write about it, number one, get any help that you need. I'm not a therapist. So number one, always
Right.
get whatever help you need. But number two is allow the writing to help be part of your process to come out the other side. You don't always have to know up front exactly what you want to say or how you're going to help people. What you do have to have is the commitment to allow yourself to discover that.
I agree so much. But the accountability piece on that part,
Yeah.
I think, is what's so important. And that's a piece that I think a lot of people miss out on because they're not they don't have anybody there who's guiding them along and saying, keep up, stay with it, do it. So let's talk about the free webinar that you all have done and are offering to our community.
Yeah. Um, so one of the things that I think stops people is they're afraid of someone else looking at their words. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid that what they're going to put down is like crap, right?
Mhm.
Here to say all of it's true and it doesn't matter. One of my favorite sayings is get over yourself. We all have to kind of get over ourselves to get to the other side. And
Right.
so in this webinar, I'm going to be talking a lot about how do you set yourself up for success? How do you stop that self-sabotage and allow yourself to move forward? How do you allow yourself to be accountable without having self-judgment and worrying about other people reading your words? One of the things we do in our program, so we have the webinar and then it goes to some videos that will help you, right? So lots of free stuff, but then there's a program if you want to sign up. But one of the things I tell the people in this program is we are not going to read your words for a while. You're going to send them to us because we're holding you accountable, but we're not actually reading them because it's too vulnerable. It's too fresh. It's too raw until we get farther along in the process. And that gives a sense of safety, at least for the first few weeks, for
Mhm.
people to write whatever they want. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter, right? And so the accountability is we want words on paper and
right.
on paper, on the screen, digitally, whatever.
Mhm, mhm.
And that might be 1,000 words a week, or it might be 5,000 words a week. Everyone has a different level of ability to
Mhm.
do that at the beginning until you strengthen that muscle. And for some people like myself, I might really struggle with 500 words and not be able to, and then suddenly, boom, I've hit a vein and I can go and I can write, right? And other people, it's consistency. So we have to find the way that works for you and create a plan that's going to work for you and then hold you accountable to that plan so that you don't let yourself get out of it.
Yeah, I find that I think having a goal of having a certain amount of time that I'm writing in a window of time is better for me than a word count goal at
Uh-huh.
any. That's part of the stress of NaNoWriMo, right? At the end of the
Right.
day, it's awesome that you have 50,000 words written at the end of a month. But
That's a
for
lot.
me, it is a lot. It's
A
if you
lot.
can do that. And so I've given myself grace, and I'm thinking if I get anything written in that month, it's good. But having a time so they offer, that's a system where it's same
Right.
thing, the accountability, somebody's making you check in every day, but the stress of having to write however many words it is every day, I think it's like 1567. That's a lot of words to do
A
every
lot of
day for
words
30
for
days in a
anybody.
row.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
Right.
it just freaks me out. So I love that you have this kind of relaxed, like maybe it's 300 words, maybe it's 3000 words, whatever it is, get words done and
Right.
keep
Get
moving
words done.
forward.
And then as you move forward, we ramp that up a little bit because we want
Right.
to get a manuscript done. The other thing that we offer that I used to do even pre-COVID, pre like virtual working, is writing time on Zoom together, where we just
Yes.
get together and write.
Yes.
That's part of this program too. And I'm going to be talking about the power of that. Even if you all have cameras shut off, there's power in coming together in community and all having focused time to write for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and just write whatever you want to write about. And I use a lot of Natalie Goldberg's prompts. She wrote Writing Down the Bones. She's old school. I took a writing workshop with her like 25, 30 years ago. And, sometimes her writing prompts are you write exactly what's in front of you. So write about the glasses. How do
Mm.
you feel when you put them on? Can you see better? What does it feel like to not be able to see without glass? Like whatever's in front of you, just start writing. And that opens up the creative spark and our internal creative. So I use a lot of her prompts and other prompts.
Oh, that's so great. I remember 2 or 3 years ago in the Women in Publishing Summit, we had a speaker who offered a similar workshop where she said, to get over writer's block, pick out a photograph and just write whatever's in that photo, write a story about whatever's happening. I think that's great. Anything that can just I know you like scientific research behind different things as well, but there's been a lot of data to back this concept that your writing, your creative part of that brain is a muscle that has to be exercised just like your body. So you would not try to decide, I'm going to run a marathon and I'm going to start by doing a 10-mile run tomorrow. No
Right.
way, Jose. You start with your couch to 5K where you're walking a minute and running 2 minutes or whatever, So
Right.
same with
Totally.
writing.
Yeah, exactly. And the idea is to keep having small wins
Yes.
so that you have confidence and you gain more confidence because you have small wins. So if you walk a mile and you've never walked a mile, that's a win, right? If you walk
Yes.
for 10 minutes that's a win. And so if you write 500 words, if you write for 5 minutes, whatever it is, we stack small wins to create big habits.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit. So the writing program, yes, I fully believe if people are going to get their books done, they have to have goals, they have to have realistic goals, and they have
Yeah.
and expectations, and then they have to dedicate the time to actually sit down and do it. So if you have a program with accountability, if nothing else, that's going to schedule that time in your schedule so that you know I'm blocking every Thursday at 2 p.m. to meet with my group and to write. So I think that's
Yeah.
great. And then let's talk about your publishing houses. So
Yeah.
the graduates of your courses, are they considered for it? Can they apply? And Empower Press in particular, this is a new imprint. So let's hear all about Empower Press and
Yeah.
how those
So,
programs work together.
yeah, good. So, new maybe to women in publishing,
Oh,
not
sorry,
new
it's
to
new
us.
to me.
That's yeah, not so we've been publishing under Empower for probably 4 years,
Oh,
right? So we
well,
have quite a few books.
congratulations.
Yeah, we have quite a few books under Empower, but, it feels like a good match for women in publishing because the people that we have worked with that are your community and part of our community usually have empowering messages, so I
Yes,
wanted to put that out this time as a sponsor. We so here's the real truth about publishing. It's very difficult to get a traditional publishing deal anymore, where you submit
correct.
a manuscript and the publisher takes you and pays you a royalty. So we have a couple models. We have a hybrid model where you pay us and then we give you half royalties or a big royalty split, right? But we also will help you self-publish if you choose to do that, where you pay us and we take you through the whole thing so you don't make mistakes, so that you have a professional book cover, professional editing, everything. So it depends on the person and what their goals are and how much marketing, if any, they want to do, if they want us to do it, as to what that program would look like. We do have a few books that we've taken under a traditional model. And actually, what we find is in today's marketplace, it doesn't work as well because the authors, especially for our nonfiction books, which is what we focus on, they need to go sell books to their people.
Yeah.
And when they do, and they know they do, they want a higher royalty. They don't want to get 10 cents a book or 50 cents a book, right? That's not what they want. Now, we set up the book to help bring in coaching clients or business, or a lot of our authors hold workshops, those kinds of things. So we set up the book to help them create their business funnel on the back end out of their book.
Yeah.
But they want to make money off their books. So
Right.
we have a couple of hybrid models where you pay us something and then you get a higher royalty, or you keep 100% of your royalty. And we just talk that through with every author because every author is different.
Yeah. No, I think that's really smart, especially when working in the realm of nonfiction authors who are often coaches or are running some type of business that goes along with their book. Maybe it's an inspirational book, but they're a yoga instructor. So the book is then used to, as an additional revenue stream, not a primary revenue
And
stream.
to send people to their online classes or whatever.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and I think that's a message that is really important for nonfiction authors, well, for authors in general to understand, is that the marketplace is absolutely flooded in terms of there's so many books out there standing out from the crowd in a meaningful way to sell enough books to make a living as an author is almost impossible unless you are a genre fiction
I
writer who
was going
has
to
a
say, yep,
big backlist and is
yep.
is just writing and pumping out lots and lots of books. But for those of us in this world of the nonfiction, transformational healing, healing, all of those, it's really important to recognize and understand that your book is now part of an umbrella, if you will, of revenue streams and how you incorporate them together. And I think that that's where I see, we had a very long, somewhat disheartening conversation about a month ago about how hard it is to sell books and to make money as an author. And I think the problem that we're dealing with right now is that many authors come in believing I'm going to be Brene Brown in
Right.
the nonfiction field. And the reality is 99 out of 100 of you are not ever going to be anywhere near Brene Brown is from book sales, but you still can be very successful as long as you're willing to do these other things and do courses, do workshops, use it to build your business and all of that. So what
Right.
are your, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, totally. And we have some, and that's why, to be honest, when we are offering authors higher royalty, they're like, they get it. They're willing to
Mhm.
go sell books. So they got some skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
And so they're willing to go sell books or post on social. If they're getting 10 cents a book or 50 cents or even $1 a book or whatever it is, they're like, how do I bother? Right.
Right.
Um, Here's what I know about book sales. What is working right now are two things. Amazon, it still works. We run
Yeah.
Amazon ads. You got to keep playing with it. You got to
Yeah.
tweak it. And direct to consumer. So
Yes.
you as an author using an email list, going direct to the people who want to hear what you have to say. Now
Hmm.
we can help set up your funnels, we can help set up your email, we can help set up your social, whatever it is, but nobody knows your audience or your message like you do as the
Right.
author.
Right.
And so we have to start with you. What do you want? Who are you here to reach? What are your goals? If you want to be as big as Brene Brown, are you out there doing TED Talks? Are
Right.
you out there podcasting? Are you doing the research? Are you speaking? Or are you sitting at home writing, hoping it's going to come? Now, to your point, people do make money writing, but
Yeah,
it's
of
not the
course.
first book. It's not
Right.
the first book. It's never the first book. They make money off their first book by selling something off the back end, usually.
Exactly.
Or they're writing that first book that's going to be part of a series, such as fan fiction, right? And then it sets themselves up to have a backlist to write for the next 20 years. They're going to write, a book a year or 3 books a year or whatever it is, and then they will be successful, but that's a career choice.
Yeah. I think
So,
about I think about Sunshine After the Storm as an example. And this by the way, is the 10-year anniversary of the publication of Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother. So this is also my 10-year business
right,
birthday, because that's where it all began. So October of 2023 is a big, big month for us going into 10 years of business. It's hard to believe. But with that book, I have definitely seen sales increase probably around the 3-year point, right? So the first few years, we weren't marketing that book at all beyond donating it, putting it in the hands of the people that need it. And I think that's something that authors also have to know and recognize and understand, is that when you do have a deal with a big 5 company, like, they're giving out so many copies of your book to so
right,
many people to spread that awareness, because that's what really helps with sales. But it was after having the book donated to thousands of people through care packages and hospitals, and the name really getting out there and donating it to, there was a big grief awareness event in Washington, D.C. a few years ago that we donated 60 copies of it to. Then we start seeing, oh my goodness, look at all these reviews on Amazon. Look at
right,
these sales. We are running ads, like you were saying, and it will keep consistent ads going. But it does take that time to build up. And I know we are such an instant gratification society, and we want to see now. I published my book. It's been a year and I'm still not seeing things. And I guess this is more of a piece of encouragement for
right,
everyone, is don't give up, continue doing the things and building the things and getting out there speaking. I speak on grief. I tell my story. I go out there, I bring awareness to the book, and slowly, very slowly, it continues to grow. So also, I guess the piece would be, no, it's a long game, and don't throw your hat
totally.
out just because, it didn't happen in 6 months or a year.
Right. And the piece, just to add on to that, is I've worked with a lot of clients who've published elsewhere or self-published and then come to me and we do a relaunch.
Yes.
We do a refresh of the book, maybe a new cover, maybe a new synopsis, maybe a new intro. It depends on the book. And then we do a whole new relaunch, fresh eyes, fresh
Yes.
technology, new
Yep.
podcasts, right? New social media, and that gives new life to the book, new life to the author to go out and promote again.
Well, the interesting thing on that note is that going back to the very first book, most of us, when we put out our first book, nobody knows who we are. They don't know that we're an expert in our area. They've never heard of us. They're not seeing our stuff. To the same way that you said Empower Press has been around for 4 years and it was new to me. The same thing has happened to me where I'll mention the book to someone and it's been out 10 years and someone will be like, "Oh my gosh, you published a book. That's so exciting."
Right, right,
And I'm like, "Why, yes, I did 10 years ago." But thank
right.
you for, but so
But now
I
you got the workbook.
exactly, all these things that go in to do that refresher campaign, that refresher, because it gets old and boring to just be doing the same thing over and over. But now you have a brand new cover that you can share about, you have brand new interviews you can share,
Right,
anything like that that can help regenerate that interest, now going to a bigger audience that you have because you've been around growing these networks. I love relaunches. And also, I probably need to do a revision of the interior because that was the very first book that I designed by myself. And it's okay. It does the trick. I've never been too worried about it because grieving
right.
mothers are not concerned about the way a book reads. They just want the words. But it could use a refresher. I probably should have done that for the 10-year anniversary. Maybe we'll still get it out there sometime. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are always great ways to get that excitement going and flowing again. With your writing program, then, do you have a feed? By the way, I want to make sure I mention this now, is you can go over and get your free webinar, which is you want to tell them about the free webinar quickly?
Yeah.
Um,
So actually, it's going to be live next week.
Yay.
And so sign
By the
up.
way, that'll be live already by the time this comes out. So it's live.
It'll be live. But and then the replay. So just sign up, and I'm talking about why we get stuck, how to unstuck yourself, how to set up a writing practice that works for you, why it's important that you have a favorite pen and also be willing to keep writing if it's not in your purse that day. So I'm going to be
Nice.
talking about all these kinds of things, why we self-sabotage, when is it procrastination, and when is it percolation, which is around the TED Talk. Um, all of this. And then if you want more information, you'll get a short video series. These videos are like 4 minutes long that you can continue to stay inspired. You can join our Facebook group. So lots of free resources. The first step is to join the webinar, watch the replay. Can I say it?
Well, yeah, I'm
Publishing.
going to
Yeah.
send them over to our pretty link because it's easier
Okay.
it's really easy because they already know the womeninpublishingsummit.com part's easy. It says womeninpublishingsummit.com/empower for Empower Press.
Perfect. I love that.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So go grab that and I think it'll probably be recorded by the time but either way, what a phenomenal workshop. So
Yeah.
for the people who you mentioned, you do the 1 hour webinar, then you're going to get some other free training resources that come in that, and then you guys are offering a live program.
Yeah, so it is a live program. You can come in anytime right now. We will close it at some point, but right now you can come in anytime. We have group writing sessions. I go into the Facebook group and do lives once a week. I do Q&As once a week. I connect with everybody, make sure they're writing. We have accountability. And with one of our book coaches and making sure you're getting words on paper. If you're stuck, we try to dig into why you're stuck. Um, I don't know if you want me to talk price or not, but it's a low monthly payment. Well, low for
You can
us.
share what it is. Sure.
Yeah,
That's going to be a
yeah,
question.
it's 495 a month to join, which is low for coaching programs,
Yeah.
really, and low for us because we have tended to be high ticket,
Right.
lots of high touch, and we're just wanting to share this with more people and see if we can get more people with words on paper who aren't ready to publish yet, right?
Absolutely.
And just need to see if they've got a message and if they can get their book written.
I think that's great. And then once the people make it through your funnel, do you do most of them submit to you? Is it a plan that they'll submit to your
Yeah, so
presses
the
or?
plan is that we will look at their final words and tell them the next step. The next step may be come into our program
Mhm,
and we'll help you with editing and publishing. The next step might be please go rewrite this section and then
mhm.
submit to us. We will help them with whatever the next step is. Next step may be, do you really want to publish this book or do you want to divide this up and do a series of podcasts from
Oh,
this,
yeah.
right? Like, not everybody who writes actually has the ebb and flow to publish the book, but they have really good content. Maybe it's a course.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you said that because, so often people push to everybody should write their book. Oh, this is a great information. Everybody should do this. But I agree with you. Not everybody should write the book. You can use that content in other ways that may be more meaningful for your community as well. In a different and for or take it to make some type of uh, guided journal or guided workbook
Right,
or guided, it doesn't have to be 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 words to have that same impact as well.
right. We do podcasts, microcasts, audiobooks, the whole thing, right? Everything that has to do with publishing. And so often we help people do courses or workbooks
Mm.
first.
I think that's one of the most interesting things about working with hybrid presses that are run by true entrepreneurs like yourself and myself, is that we don't just look at it from the perspective of let's make a book. There's all
Right,
these other pieces that come into it. How can you be most successful as as a business owner who also wants to write a book, or as a business owner who has maybe a book or maybe it's a course or all of these things. I think that's a real advantage, and what to our authors who are out there thinking about what type of press they want to work with. I think that is something that you really should consider. What other assets do they have? What other programs do they have? What other ways can they guide you through the process of creating your package, if you will, of things that you can sell to earn? Because we want to make money. We want to earn back our investments. We want to have our businesses be successful. And for a
right,
long time, it was really uncomfortable for me to talk about money and to say we want to make money, but that's what we want to do. Like, why would we be doing this if we didn't want to? Like, I don't want to have to work a full time job and do all of this stuff. Like, I want this to be my job.
right, right, totally. And money is, the
Necessary.
it's necessary. It pays for our food. It allows us to, have a life, not in poverty, right? Not on the streets. And as entrepreneurs, it's also a benchmark for how we're doing. Not to say
Mhm.
that you have to have this huge business. It doesn't mean success is a benchmark of more better,
Sure.
but it's just a benchmark of money flow, cash flow, money coming in and out, and so forth.
Yeah. To those who may be farther along in the process and have already written the book and aren't sure what their next steps would
Yeah.
be, where would you want to send them?
Well, the easiest is just to my personal website, michellecoaches.com,
That's
because
easy.
there, that's easy,
michellecoaches.com.
right? So you could, from there, you can message me on Facebook, book a call, send me a text, all kinds of things right from there. And it's my personal site. It links to my publishing company, but I like to talk with authors and find out what their goals and dreams are,
Mhm.
and then which program or what they might need that I can help with. Sometimes it's just an hour of consulting,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes it's real easy. Sometimes it's a whole publishing package.
I'm just writing that down so I don't forget it. michellecoaches.com. now now we have it saved because you know how it is. I will
Yeah.
completely forget
Oh,
about that later. Okay, well that's great. And I agree with you. Sometimes you just need an hour with somebody to think
yeah.
things through and map it out. And so, don't think, oh, these programs are also big and expensive. You don't always have to go that route.
Yeah. We
Plenty of
have total
opportunities.
bespoke, high touch, done for you, even ghost writing programs, right? And then we have programs for people who are just like I don't even know if I have a book in me. Let me go try this and see, but I'm
Mhm.
not ready to go spend 10 or $20,000 yet, right? Let me
Yeah.
just see. So, we've got things for most people. And if we don't, we'll tell you.
And you're also doing audiobooks,
We are.
correct?
We're doing audiobooks. Yeah. And we've been doing audiobooks for a while for our authors, but we've opened it up as well to other people who've already published who would like an audiobook. And we will help work with you through our professional studio. We send you a high-end microphone. We set you up with the right equipment and software and everything on your computer. And then we can record remotely your voice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
That is really cool. Wow. And we will be doing a webinar with your audiobook company
Yeah.
in sometime in 2024. So everyone pay
Excellent.
attention to the email about that. But
Everybody loves Mark. He's our
oh,
director of audio, and everybody just falls in love with Mark.
he's great. I've always enjoyed going back and forth with him over email. Well, y'all have so much going on. Don't forget to head over to womenandpublishingsummit.com/empower. If you register for that webinar, it will get you on the Grace Point email list as well, where you hear about all the other things that they have going on. And keep an eye out for the email in spring about the audiobook webinar. And of course, we will have Michelle at the conference in 2024. So tickets are on sale on the website now. Go to womenandpublishingsummit.com main page. You can grab your ticket at early bird pricing and come speak with Michelle. This year, we're doing something so fun, which I'm really excited about. We are doing publisher speed dating, where we're going to bring in 5 or 6 publishers at a time, have them each introduce themselves to our audience and say, here's the type of authors we publish and who we're looking for. And then we're going to put them in small rooms where everybody who's interested in learning about that publisher can hop in and just have that face-to-face moment and ask their questions. And I'm really excited about that opportunity to match authors and publishers at this year's conference. So yay. All right,
Yay.
Michelle, what else would you like to share with our audience before we wrap this up?
I think the biggest thing that I see that stops a lot of people, and women especially, but not only women, but from really finishing a book is self-doubt, unsure if what they have is
Yes.
different enough to write. Hasn't it all been said already? And my answer to that is if it's in your heart, then it's yours to do, or it
Mhm.
wouldn't be in your heart. And so just do the next step, which is start writing. Reach out to me. Let's see if we can help support you. But if nothing else, just start writing because you
Mhm.
wouldn't be here. You wouldn't still be listening if you didn't have that urge. And so don't worry about the end result. We all get hung up on the end result. Just take the first step, start writing, and the rest will unfold.
I love that advice. That is phenomenal. All right. Well, this has been, as always, a great conversation. It's so funny. Can I tell them about what happened the last time we were supposed to record
Yeah.
this? So we got together. We were all set to record, and both of us were having really bad days, and we just couldn't think of. We were just like, this is just not a
What
good
are we talking about?
not
No,
good
it's like,
energy. We're just both like, oh, I'm having such a rough day. So I am so glad we rescheduled. You know what? It's just like the example of our book. Sometimes the timing is not right. And this was
yeah.
much, much better timing for both of us. And I adore you, Michelle, and appreciate all the support that you do for our community and hope that we can match you with 150,000 more Toby doors. Well, I don't have that many
Yay.
people in my audience, but that's a big goal. Maybe 150 more Toby doors. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we will see everybody in our next. Well, I won't see you. You'll hear from us again in a week or so with another episode. Please make sure you go over to womenandpublishingsummit.com. You can head over to the events page and see everything that we have coming up, all of our upcoming events. Make sure you get the Empower free webinar so that you can get started on your first draft and move through it. womenandpublishingsummit.com/empower. And if you're loving the podcast, please review us and share us. We would really enjoy that. So thanks.
You don't have to give me your heart. You don't have to give it away.
Thank you for joining us on the Publish Her podcast. We hope to see you back for the next episode. Great, huge thanks goes to Jasmine Commerce for the use of her song. You can find Jasmine on SoundCloud. Go check out all of her music. We'll see you next time.